time, the whole thing was shadowing us, right behind us, right on the side of us. You could kind of see the thing moving through the woods.
All I can remember is flipping the light on, and I see this creature, and I knew in my heart, I knew in my mind, and the whole night, this isn't a man.
And then this thing walks across the road, takes a turn towards us, and then leaps over a guardrail.
Went to look forward, and there was a big black face.
Welcome to Squatch-D TV, exploring the Bigfoot mystery each week with your hosts, veteran researcher, author, and TV personality, the Squatch Detective, Steve Culls, and from the Bigfoot Research Project of Kentucky, Chris Bennett. Sit back and buckle up as we bring you guests from around North America discussing the Bigfoot phenomena, but not without a few laughs, too. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
Hey, good evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D TV for today's date, June 12th, 2022. I'm your host, your guide, the Squatch Detective, Steve Culls, along with my co-host. Yes, that guy downstairs, right there. What's up, Chris?
Steve, good to see you, man. I tell you, I have really been enjoying this warm weather. I hope you're getting a good bite of it in New York.
Oh, not necessarily warm. I haven't had to have the air conditioner on in the last, couple of weeks since that heat wave. But the temperature has just been, we had a couple of cold nights, but I didn't bother turning the heat on either. So I was like, I don't care. It's a little chilly in here. Who cares?
Well, that's the thing. Usually this time of year, you're in between the having to run the heat and usually having to run the air conditioner. So
yep.
And cheaper electricity. I love that.
This last Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you could walk around and it wasn't hot. It wasn't cold. There was no humidity. It was just perfect. And it was a day there was a breeze, and the breeze felt really refreshing. It was awesome. Yeah. But anyway, let's get to saying hi to folks in the chat room. Hey. And here we go. We got John Swan in the house. Hello, John. Hello. He's the first one in today, and he turned the light on for everybody else to come in. We got Low Rider in the house. Hello, Low. Luke and Jeff Trifoletti. Jeff, my good buddy, how you been? I hope you are doing well, my friend. So, and I love your Facebook posts. Keep them coming, brother. Patty Troy. Hello, Patty. Good to see you. Ammon, Chris. Of course, brought to you by Snapple. The Bat Mom. Hello, Bat Mom. How are you? Hope things are all well with you. Good to see you again. Bigfoot and more. Happy Sunday to you, sir. And Central Florida Bigfoot Matt. Hello, sir. Good to see you. Big Brian McMahon is in the house. Hello, Brian. Things are jumping a little bit. So Raptor Crazy. Good to see you, Raptor. Arthur Watch. Hello, Arthur. Tim Halloran in that book, The Bigfoot Influencers, which will be coming out real soon, too. Looking forward to that. Hey, my buddy Steve, Bosax 3113 in the house. Hello, Mr. Palazzo. Good to see you, sir. And maybe later on we'll have you on to sing the Star Spangled Banner. Jay Fritz, hello, Jay. Lisa Galvin, hello, Lisa. Good to see you here. Glad you said hello, and this is your first time in the show. Welcome. If not, and you just never said hello, well, hello, and we're glad to see you've made yourself known. So that's what we got in here so far. And tonight's theme, interesting little topic, and it kind of popped into my head. And this is how these shows go sometimes. Sometimes I don't really think too much into it. Otherwise, things get convoluted. So I'm sitting there, all right, I'll come up with an idea. And then, yesterday, usually when I'm at work on Saturday, that's the day my coconut's rolling around. If I don't have a guest, the coconut's rolling around. Actually, it kind of sounds like a bowling alley going on in my head. And I said, somebody had made mention. Too bad we didn't have a deck of cards. Kind of like, you remember when we had the deck of cards when the Iraq invasion happened, and all the bad guys were on the deck of cards. And that was given to me. So I was like, why not create a Bigfoot deck of doom? Now, we're not going to fill up all 52 cards. In fact, tonight, I think we're doing the first maybe 12 or 13 cards in the deck. And I'm sure there are probably a few people I have missed. One right off the bat. I had planned on it, but time today was just, so I didn't really have much time to put them all, the extra one in there, but it's going to be a lot of fun. But before we start this, another reason that really gave me is these wonderful playing cards, which I own a set of, is the bicycle Bigfoot. Now, I was never big into getting Bigfoot trinkets, but all of a sudden it just happens. So now I have a whole shelf, and I happen to get a deck of these cards, and they're made by Bicycle, and they are, really a really cool deck of cards. If you haven't seen them, now some of them may be zapped out by the green screen.
Yeah, background's messing with some of them.
But it's really, I
love some of the little sayings they've got printed on the.
They have a lot of cutesy little sayings. Every once in a while, little jokes. How does a Yeti get to work? By icicle. So the bicycle. But all their cards have different regional names. Are really well done. Like the Momo and of course I just pulled out this one, the Skunk Ape. And they all have a different depiction on it. They have the traditional Bigfoot. So it's really the Medi Howler. There's some that are local names that you don't hear too much about sometimes. So it's really a well-researched deck of cards. And of course, it's got the bicycle quality on there. And if you choose to want a deck, I believe they're $9.99 for the deck of cards on that link below, which also helps our Amazon affiliate page. So if anybody's interested, there you go. But today we're going to play with a different deck.
Everybody should have a deck of cards in the drawer at the house, especially for lockdowns and all this other stuff. Those things become worth their weight in gold.
And also sneaking in is My Eyes and Mick. Hello, Mick.
Hey, Mick. Hey, My Eyes.
And he's like, happy Coconut Sunday, folks. In fact, I don't know where he got the palm tree and the coconut, but I tell you what, he's got a couple of coconuts in the tree. So, but anyway, what an idea. So, and this spans a little bit of a generational gap. So it's a little bit of an education process. You're going to see a lot of familiar faces, even some that we spoke about in the last couple of weeks, but we have a little extra and a little extra on some follow-ups about these cats. No pun intended there. As you know, as Chris has already seen the deck, prior to the show. And, so it could be. So the first one we'll talk about tonight is drum roll. If it decides to work, come on. Okay, we're going to play this game again. Of course, the first card is the Queen of Spades. Ivan Marks. Need we say more?
Ivan. Oh, yeah.
Now Ivan has not been a really big impact, but it's more of a historical reference point as one of the more infamous hoaxers of the 70s. Was a reputedly respectable researcher during the 60s. Went out with Renee Hendon, knew all the names, the Peter Burns, the Roger Pattersons, knew them all. And then it was in... and it was actually Ivan that was responsible for the finding of the Bosberg Cripplefoot track. If you read Renee Hendon's book, he was with Ivan Marks, who stopped at this fence line. And this is what always makes me kind of be a little dubious of the Bosberg. Em and Chris says, must not be many female hoaxers. Well, we did not really be gender specific with whether it's the queens, the kings, or they're kind of ranked in importance right now. So take that for what you will. So the queens are one rank, the kings are another rank, and the aces, of course, are the banes of the Bigfoot community.
Ivan had that one movie. What was it? The Legend of Bigfoot?
He had a couple of them, actually. There was another one, Bigfoot, I think, Alive and Well and Seven, whatever. There was a sequel to that. I think there was 2 or 3 movies, and they were produced by Tom Biscardi's movie company, New Horizons, or whatever the hell they called it. Productions or whatever.
In the early 70s, Bigfoot movies were people making some good coin out of those. That was popular.
Yep. And of course, he had the male Bigfoot, which supposedly depicted the Bosberg Cripplefoot, I think, because it was walking, with a limp, and we was trying to say that was the Bosberg.
Well, I mean, we did a show on that. This is probably several years back now, when we were talking about the Bosberg tracks, and you had found some photographs of the track prior to them casting it.
Yep.
Do you remember that show we did?
I sure did. That was way back when.
And what the track looked like in the snow was a whole lot different than what they got casted.
And my buddy Steve goes, "Is there a porcupine in this deck?"
Spoilers.
Now, Mick says he blames Biscardi or Ivan Marks for Biscardi. No, I really blame Biscardi for Biscardi.
Mick's got a good point there,
The father of the term of Ivan Marks syndrome. Yep, absolutely. Thomas Steenberg uses that term all the time. And Brian says Ivan's a good start.
I believe Tom Biscardi has referred to Ivan Marks as his mentor.
Sure does. But who knows at this point if it really, Tom Biscardi says a lot of things that.
Yes, that's true.
Now, folks, if you wonder why we blank our cameras out once in a while, it's because we like to take a puff or two on our tobacco products, and we just don't want to get in trouble from the YouTube powers to be that we're promoting that particular habit. So that's why Chris and I will blink out once in a while with our cameras. So our apologies for that. I'm pretty sure that if we start, because all of a sudden we got a demonetization on one of the videos, and that was one of the reasons cited, that we're promoting smoking because we're smoking on a podcast. How silly is that? But it is what it is, I suppose.
Well, if I blank my camera out, it's because that I don't have any pants on, and I have to get up and go out of the room. So people don't want to see that.
That's all. That whole comment was below the waist, Chris.
It was really terrible.
So that is our number one entry. Of course, Ivan Marks tried to, hoax Peter Byrne into giving him $25,000 for probably the footage you're seeing in his movies.
Yeah. And if you're new to Bigfooting and stuff, check out some of Ivan Marks' stuff. You might find some videos on YouTube that have some of the videos that he collected.
Sure, and not only that, but you will find that the documentary is very well available on YouTube and stuff like that for free. So check it out. It's a little, and of course, Ivan Marks and the scientists that refute my, he gets all angry at science. Of course, same thing with, and that, that we say that Biscardi he was Biscardi's mentor, and we look at that, and we kind of see that in a bit, the way this Biscardi always talks about other what do they know? They don't know nothing, that kind of stuff. Okay, Tom, whatever, just remember, one pour and another pour. So that is the Queen of Spades. Let's do the Queen of Hearts. And I apologize if this, sometimes it'll load up automatically. Sometimes it does not want to. Queen of Hearts, the Bigfoot Tooth Hoax. And this guy from We Do It Outdoors, I forget his name because he's not really a big player, and that's why he's only a queen. Only recently, it looks like he has stopped his shenanigans for the meantime right now. A couple of years ago, he tried playing this hoax where he found a Bigfoot tooth. He's got some noises, like very clearly on it is a screech owl. And he's trying to claim that that's a Bigfoot or something. It's just some of his stuff is really. Now, was it? He owns a lawn service company. Was it to get more attention to his lawn service company? I don't know. But whatever the case is, he is not really doing too much. I think his last video was like 10 months ago. So he may be out of business, which is good because that's what we want to do. We want to cycle these people and get rid of them. And boy, we've got a couple. Well, we've got a couple of names on the list here today, which are going to be big surprises that they've kind of cycled out or they're cycling down. So
that is a big tooth. It really is.
Mix says if Hendon were live today, he could swear for 2 weeks straight without repeating himself, just talking about marks. Bigfoot and more. The Tooth Hoax. Let's see. That came out. Was it last year or the year before? Whatever. It was. I think it was in the wintertime because obviously there was snow in the background of the picture. So I think it was like the winter of either the end of 2020 or the beginning of 2021, where this gentleman claims that he had a Bigfoot tooth and he sent it off for DNA, and he's got this video of him allegedly extracting DNA, which really you could tell that was a very flawed method of how he was, collecting that DNA. He wasn't using buccal swabs. He was just using like a small, very, very thin dowel to he's using that for the extraction. So definitely very, very interesting. We kind of called him out in the show. He got wind of it and he started commenting on it, which was kind of interesting. And after I kept asking him to answer the question logically and not get trollistic or start name calling, and he couldn't hold himself to that. So his comments got the boot and he got banned from commenting. So that's what happens. We have no problem with somebody disagreeing with a view on our comments, but don't take it personal. And if you make it personal, you're going to be shown the door. Simple as that. And your post is not going to be taken. And a lot of these folks here, we've had comments from their minions over the the last decades. So this is nothing new to us. So moving on, who should we do? The Queen of Diamonds. And here we go. This one, this is going to be one of our surprises for tonight. If I get this to load. Okay, so we're having an issue loading the pictures all of a sudden. There we go.
Yay!
So yes, Linda Newton Perry. Now, some years ago, over 10 years ago, she had made a promise that if the ESP team pictures are a hoax, I promise you I will immediately shut the site down.
Yes.
Well, it took her till actually I think 2022 or late 2021, but I don't find her site anymore out there. You can Google it; it's not there. And
Good.
you know, it's kind of funny. Some of her sympathizers will say, "Oh, well, you know, she's shutting the site down because people were, you know, calling her, you know, hoaxer and being hurtful." And yeah, okay, right. We're calling you a hoaxer because you're a hoaxer. We don't call people hoaxers.
Yeah.
We don't make.
She was promoting hoax evidence and fakery. So
hoax after hoax.
Yeah, you can't.
Hoax after hoax, and if
you can't ignore that, and
yep.
she's not really doing the
yep.
Bigfoot investigation and the Bigfoot researchers any favors by promoting hoaxes.
She sure is. Yeah, she's in the Coos Bay area, I believe.
And she had some good ones, and Steve busted them wide open. Yeah. And now she happens to be in the Squatch Detective Hall of Shame.
Sure
if
is.
You want to look at some of those, some of those photos and stuff. Of course, you know a lot of people don't realize if you post up a photo, even if you change it around a little bit, you can't fool culls. You can fool probably 99% of the people, but you cannot fool culls because he can go into that photograph and. He could probably tell you who took it and what time and what they were wearing. I don't know.
Sometimes, but, not always, but sometimes. Yeah. I mean, there's so many hoaxes to count. I mean, the 3 or 4 hoaxes with Dale Saxton, the ESP team hoaxes, the trail cam, you know, the big Clyde picture hoax. And then, of course, the biggest one that took storm a few years back was the Miller document hoax.
Yeah.
You know, which was a bunch of nice creative writing. Nice creative writing. A lot of people bought it because of the you know, obviously it was read off of some, you know, copied off of some academic site. Not necessarily copied, but skewed a little bit from some academic sites.
Yes.
And but then we found the real Dr. A.J. Miller.
Yeah.
And that's what really crushed it. A.J. Miller was never a medical doctor. He wasn't even a doctor. A.J. Miller had a master's in forestry, had nothing to do with medicine at all. Like she had claimed that he had a doctorate in this
someone had went to a lot of trouble and they had put a lot of work into creating a scientific paper.
Well, that was probably her and her husband.
To sound scientific, you know, and that's the problem.
Yeah. Well, you know, but the whole idea was, and she left that photo of him. Here's Dr. A.J. Miller in his graduation photo from wherever. And I remember digging into that and speaking to with this wonderful researcher out on the Kitsap Peninsula, I believe she lives on, and she had it nailed down. She just wasn't sure. And then we ended up digging a little bit more, and we uncovered, you know, that yes, you got the right person, and look at this. So we can confirm it with this. We can confirm it with that. Right. And then all of a sudden, the whole floodgates. We found a book written by not Doctor, but H.A. Miller, and he even says in the credits of the book that he was a forester. So very cool how we debunked that whole thing, and it was one of those aha moments. And you know, that's the cool thing. You know, Chris, people ask me all the time why I do this, and yes, I want to vindicate the witnesses, but I've always said that, you know, with every investigation I compartmentalize it. Yeah. So if I'm able to take this and this is a hoax, and I work it out and I prove it's a hoax, to me, I've done my job. And if there's a feeling of satisfaction, especially when you get these big national things that are bouncing all over the internet, and then you're able to find that information and go, hey, this is bullshit. We ain't even talk. I mean, there's a couple of honorable mentions that we haven't gotten to. Jonathan Yeoman and Bob Garrett. We've busted those guys wide open too, but they were so minor and one-offs that I didn't add them into the collection right now, because Bob Garrett was a one-off, and then he had some shady, you know, business dealings. But we, you know, And then we have Yeoman, who had the Bigfoot peeper, and we blew that one wide open as well.
And there's a lot of stuff, too. We don't go around picking fights with people that have Bigfoot experiences or anything. But when somebody starts putting out information as if it's real, then of course we expect it to be real. But now there's also this other niche out there of Bigfoot for entertainment, which was a lot of fictional stuff. And that's fine as long as they say, well, this is for entertainment purposes only. That means, okay, it's fictional. All right. But if you start putting out fake stuff like a picture of Big Clyde or whatever.
Big Clyde, yep.
Yeah, and it's obviously a screen cap from the movie Sasquatch: The Legend of Bigfoot. Then,
yes, the 1976 film. Yep.
Yeah, you can't expect people to sit by and say, "Oh yeah." Well,
and it was so funny. She came out with that statement. My promise: if the Emory DSP team pictures are fake, I'll shut this website down. Blah blah blah. And we proved it.
Every single one. Yes.
And of course, what does a hoaxer do that created the hoax? Well, I don't see it. So you're either a hoax promoter or you're the hoaxer yourself. But over the years, we had gotten so many pictures that she had put these stories up, including the use of Tim Fasano's footprint that he found down in Florida, trying to make claim of that, saying, "Oh, we found this in Oregon," and she screen capped it off of Fasano's YouTube video.
Stole Tim's print,
and of course she talked to Tim and said, "Oh, well, somebody sent that to me," and seems like people are sending you a lot of crap and you just posting it up without any. She claims to be a newspaper or a journalist and a writer. And she does no verifications, no backgrounds, which is the basics of being a journalist, is that you need to reference your sources and cross-reference them. So her explanations never
Fuller,
flew.
hi, Don. John Ayers, hi, John.
And we got a ton more. We got Nani White Wave Running Mouth. We got Jen in the house. Joe is in the house from Western New York Bigfoot. Something to Sasquatch about. I think we said Jen already. Life is a Flyway is in the house. No need to apologize at all. The house is crowded tonight, which is a good thing.
You guys are popping in right and left. We love it. Yep. Love to have you, everyone. Excuse my squeaky chair. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. My chair is starting to. This stool I'm using is I don't use. It's kind of funny. I don't use my desk chair when I do the show. I have a podcasting stool with a back on it, but it's got a small back on it, so you can catch the green screen behind me, and it elevates me a little higher than my. Otherwise, you'll be looking down at me.
Yeah.
I kind of can get in the camera a little bit easier this way. So, but I don't know if it's squeaking a little bit or not, but and it's also a little smaller in size. So, with the green screen and everything, and I've kind of adjusted things that I can move my green screen out a little bit more. So I got a lot of room, a lot of playroom in here now that I didn't normally have when I first started doing this. So, but yeah, the green screen's always fun. Okay. The next one is the Queen of Clubs, and we know who that is. Yes, Richter Riolo.
Richter Riolo, okay.
And that's for saying all Bigfooters are hoaxers. I mean, here's a guy that calls me a fraud because I disagree with him on something. Saying Bigfoot doesn't exist despite trying years to pander on the topic. Think about it. Here's a guy that, for years has been saying Bigfoot doesn't exist, but yet he's pandering to the Bigfoot crowd, showing up at Bigfoot events, which for the most part now he is persona non grata. For years I was on the good side of this guy, and we talked quite often. And but people kept warning me, Steve, Richter has a habit of stabbing people in the back. And guess what he did? When I didn't agree with him over something, over that whole Russell Accord statement, what allegedly he said to Richter and I, and it turns out after talking to Russell, he explained what he meant, and it made sense. It made entire sense, And when I talked to Richter about it, he was very quiet about it, but did not argue with me. And then months down the road, he comes out on the attack and with all kinds of crap. And,
so I don't really know Richter, but why was somebody that doesn't believe or doesn't think Sasquatch or Bigfoot exists, why would they go and hang around Bigfooters? Are they like in it for the people or what? I don't understand. I just don't get it.
He, so he can have a show, so he can get his little internet fame. He was on the Bigfoot Bounty. He got kicked off after the first episode. And since then, he's been a jilted type of guy. But he's also the type of guy that used to say he was in fear for his life with Rick Dyer, but then he meets up with him in Las Vegas and goes out with him, and then goes out with people like Justin Smeha and stuff like that. So all these people he's calling hoaxers, he's running around the field with. So, all I can say is hypocrisy, hypocrisy, hypocrisy. And frankly, I'm not going to stay too long on this topic. But if you ever watch any of his videos, like if there's any stills, he alters people's appearances by taking out some extra teeth or by making them look a little, darker or sallow, or find them at the funniest type of ways. So, right back at you. So
a little bit of mustard or something. What is that? Okay.
I don't want to speculate.
Okay. Me neither.
Yep. Okay, so let's get into, speaking of which, we mentioned this guy once already. And let's see if we can get this to pull up. Hang on, we get it. Oh, hang on a second. We're having a little issue with the computer for some reason again.
Those picture files are pretty big.
No, hang on. I'm gonna wipe them all out because there we go. I'm gonna have to wipe them all out because it is definitely not working properly. So let's see. Of course, like the fifth click on this, we're finally getting it up. Of course, Rick Dyer, need I say more?
Yes. Rick,
the King of Hearts, need I say more?
Yeah, he needs his place on a card. He's a sweetheart.
But for the most part, he is done with Bigfoot. So,
well, I don't know. I mean, he may as well be, because how could anybody? I was shocked. I'll tell you what he did. He shocked me, because on the second time around, when he came up with what was his body the body hoax? What was that guy's the Bigfoot's name? Hank. When he came up with that Hank body hoax, and people actually bought it. This is the second time. I'm like, oh my God, I could not believe it. How could anybody? It's like lightning striking twice. So I don't know if he could get away with it a third time or not. I don't think he could. Surely to God, no. Surely he
no.
could.
And he was building up to that a while back.
Yeah.
With these couple of used car guys, and that did not necessarily come out. Well, the reason why he is not the ace is because it's been, when was the last hoax? 9 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Nah, it's been a while. So that's the reason why. 2008, 2013. And, my father used to have a saying, don't sell your cabbages twice. And, if you're wondering why, if somebody told the same joke over again, he would say, don't sell your cabbages twice.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Dyer did. Don't sell your cabbages twice. And as Joe just said,
some buyers though. So,
yeah. Long live Rick Dyer, just not somewhere near me.
Yeah.
So who knows? So let's get to the King of Diamonds. Okay, we're trying. The Squatch Master, Jeff Patterson.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. And now that guy has years of fakery. We've called him out. Tim Stover from Ohio has called him out on the tree shaking video where he had taken a very dark, kind of picture of his son shaking a tree, claiming it was a Sasquatch.
Right.
He's managed to get on a couple of TV shows with his fakery and his blob squatches, and then his audios that He claimed were a Sasquatch talking, but when you reversed them, it was just a matter of being a radio transmission, maybe off a scanner or something.
Yeah.
Played in reverse.
Yeah.
And he claimed that was Bigfoot talk. And then when that was debunked, saying it was, oh, well, you've just proven it. Whatever it was paranormal. It was demonic. And that's why it was speaking backwards. So he completely shifted that story. So, yeah, this guy is somebody that's, not trustworthy. And obviously has gotten some, he's made it to these different shows. So,
well, with Tim Stover did that investigation of the tree shaking. I watched that video that Tim did. It was first rate work. He found the exact tree.
Yes,
where Patterson filmed, and all around that tree were like boot tracks, tennis shoe tracks.
Yep. Not
one single Bigfoot track.
Yeah, Bigfoot track. Nope. No.
Pretty good.
Yeah, just amazing, and I believe he's in the Squatch Detective Hall of Shame as well. So he just made a comment. I believe he is in there too. Don Fuller says lots of Pattersons hoaxing. Well, this Patterson is with the double T. Now it's kind of funny. We talk about, this guy hoaxing, and where he really jumped the shark is remember he had the videos of the dead baby Bigfoot, and it was this whatever it was like so fake. Remember that?
Man, I don't know. It's been so long, and I haven't looked at it. You'll spend 2 minutes looking at any of his videos before you change the channel to something else because it's that ridiculous. And I've got to where anymore after years of watching a bunch of crap. I just don't. As soon as it strikes me, it's like, oh my God, this is terrible. This is hoax. This is stupidity. It's insulting. So I just can't stand to watch it anymore. I've got to go somewhere else, watch something else.
Yeah. Girly Bigfooter says, don't mix Patterson the Pattersons. Well, now we come to the king of clubs. Bing! Mike Patterson with one D.
There he is.
So yes, we have the other Patterson here in the hoax collection, Mr. Mike Patterson of Sasquatch, Ontario.
Yeah, this was the fake audio recording, right?
Yep. Yep, and he claims he's communicating with them as well.
By having somebody mimic a way of talking by speaking while they inhale air rather than...
Yes, that person was Daryl Strum.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And they had a fight a few years back, and Strum came out and said it all and actually provided an audio saying, I am not real.
Yeah, I am not real.
So, yeah.
Bigfoot is old.
Now, obviously, where are these guys from? Jeff Patterson's Squatch Master is from, he's from Ohio, Pennsylvania, that area.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because he released a video, said it was in Pennsylvania, and then he released the same video, he said it was in Ohio. And then it shows up on one of those reputable TV programs, such as, Paranormal Caught on Tape, where.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was. He had some of his stuff was shown on TV on some shows.
Yeah, I think he was on Finding Bigfoot as well, where they kind of debunked his stuff also.
Yes, he was. He was on.
But so and of course his whole thing is, well, I've been on this show and that show, and trying to build a resume, but he was shown for evidence that was crap. He
was featured on the show, busting a hoax. I don't know what that does to your reputation. It seemed like instead of elevating it, it would probably drag it down
hurt
through
it
the
a little bit.
Yeah, I would think so.
And of course, Steve's favorite video is the gifting bowl one. It would have been better by means of communication if he used the gifting bowl.
I like Steve's idea of the gifting bowl. He gets like iPhones and stuff.
I sure do.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But,
So
this is another one that was insulting to be expected to believe. This was another one.
well, it's all about it's all about creating a big channel and getting these clicks and these hits and I'm sorry, I earn it the old-fashioned way. I earn it, and I earn it honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I suppose you could make up a big hoax about Bigfoot and get, maybe a viral video or something. But what good has that done anybody? It certainly didn't do any Bigfoot researchers any good.
No. No, and what it does is it one of my tenets on my site is the responsibility to educate. And part of that education is calling out the charlatans, the people who put the junk science out there, the people who hoax. I feel that's very important because we don't want the public miseducated about this topic. It's bad enough that we get a bad rap that, Bigfoot, and then you got these knuckleheads on this deck of cards putting this crap evidence out, especially like him saying, oh, yeah, or I know, yeah, that's right. Where Dr. Johnson has Zorth and the Janu, Mike Patterson calls them the Nephrata or the Nephrata. That's what he calls them. Oh, they're the Nephrata, and it's amazing. Well, somebody's lying here. Patterson says they're Nephrata. Johnson says they're Janu. Kwani Lapsaritis, who we talked about last week, he says there's something else, the Sasquatch people. Who's telling the truth here? Nobody there.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So yeah, very very interesting type of and I see that Mike from Tactical Bigfoot Research is in the house. Hello, Michael.
Hey, Mike.
And we got Nikki from Hairy Man Hoaxes and Hoodwinks.
Hey, Nikki.
Finally kicking back. Hello. And you've missed the queens and the kings. This is the last king of the group, I believe. Did we get all in?
Mary. I'm Mary.
You sure did. So now when we get to the aces are the folks that are pressing stuff now. They are in the now. Some for a while and some not so much. Just unreal. And did we say hi to Low Rider tonight? He was one around, and Don Fuller, he's out there. Hello, Don.
Yeah. Yeah, I caught Don a while ago.
Yeah.
Good to see you, bud.
So this was, and it's kind of funny that I caught a chat once between Mr. Patterson here and one of his minions or followers saying, I don't know who he is. He must be, some aper, he doesn't know nothing, blah, 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 blah. Really, you don't know who I am? Well, that just shows you how much of a researcher you are. You got to understand a lot of these hoaxers, such as him, they don't follow the mainstream Bigfooting. They're on their own agenda. They don't do research. Unlike one person that does, but we'll get into that in a bit. And that's what makes him one of the better hoaxers, I think, than most. But yeah, this guy, but his little minion that was commenting, her subtitle on her Facebook page is like the Sasquatch Whisperer. Okay, so you're one of those that, I have all these interactions with Bigfoot and yada yada yada. Yeah. But not a shred of evidence.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Now you see, Joe says my life isn't complete unless Biscardi's in an ace. The problem is that Biscardi maybe 5-10 years ago was on an ace. Not so much anymore. His card has gone down in value. So, who is up next? Who do you think? Who should we put up next? Well, how about this one? Boom. That's right. Katuna, a.k.a. Cat Hansen. Cat's out of the bag. Of course, she is still doing... That didn't work. She is doing... I hit the button, but it didn't pop. Katuna, or Cat, here's another one that got kind of broken out. If you look at the pictures between that's there was the whole Bradis hoax, and she had been doing this for a while. And a few years ago, she came on my radar, and there was a couple of pictures. And actually, there was a Twitter user, I forget the handle, who pointed out the second picture that's off to the right there. That all that was basically a baby gorilla, with its hand on a fence rail. And she had just inverted that and colored it a little bit, gave it a little more green darkness. Once again, here we are, a very Linda Newton Perry-esque type of thing. And she's another one that claims that she's had a lot of interactions with Sasquatch and named them. And she put out a video about Sasquatch eyes. And, look at the picture of Bradis here. Bradis is one of the young Bigfoot, yada, yada, yada. It turns out that video was a copy of a gorilla rescue that occurred in Africa. Yep. And the baby gorilla's name was Amani. And they had video of that. And that's what she copied the video caps from. And she altered the eyes slightly to make them look a little bit bigger. But it's the same vegetation, the same face, the same positioning, everything down the road. I
love when you did that. You showed how she stretched the leaves and stuff by stretching the picture. Oh, man. That's so hilarious. It's just like those, Instagram where people put their body photos on there and then they edit themselves. So a picket fence, a straight rail is crooked.
Well, here's the other interesting fact too, is for years she was using different photographs of this particular Eastern European folk singer in place of hers.
Yeah.
And turns out, when I started doing research, that Katunia Hansen, which is a real name, and she is the only Katunia in the country. And that search was done using my investigator databases. And it was simply started as Cat Hansen. And the only name that popped up in the United States was Katunia Hansen. Yeah. And guess where Katunia lives? Not where she claimed to have lived, out in the Midwest, where she was having all these communications and interactions with these Bigfoot. She lived in Connecticut, which by and far is a very urban suburban state. So here
probably,
she is.
Bigfoot activity maybe not as common there.
So the cat's out of the bag now. Now she is vlogging not so much on the Bigfoot mystery so much as anymore, but she does talk about cryptids and all this other kind of new age type of stuff, spiritualism and tarot and all this other fun games and stuff.
She had another picture listed other than this one, right?
Well, this is her. This is actually her. This is off now. She's using
the other
her
picture better. Yeah.
Chris went there, not me.
Yes, I know. I'm not one to talk. I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm sorry.
We both have faces for radio.
She has hair. I don't even have hair, so I can't complain. But I got.
I don't know if that's hair. It could be a wig too.
I got a boss goatee here, though, Cat. So hey, I got you beat, baby.
She kind of looks like you, actually, just with hair, less a beard.
Well, that's what I did look like before. When I was clean shaven and I had hair. I mean, we could have been twins.
But truthfully, she's just vlogging now, and that's actually the real Cat Hansen, who's been having all these interactions all over these years, and
yes,
so I don't think she'll be necessarily doing this
and
for so much.
I'm just kidding, guys. Okay, I know I'm not handsome.
Chris. So that is the Ace of Diamonds. And say, who should we do next? Let's do the Ace of Hearts.
You know, got to give her credit. Those photos were pretty cool.
Ace of Hearts.
Oh, there he
Mr.
is.
Clickbait Steve Isdall, a guy who knows everything about there is to know about Bigfoot within a year or two, but yet never does any research in the field, or that we see, puts up pictures of other people's stuff, like the Mark Zasky hoax, and some anomalous picture of a footprint in there, trying to claim, hey, you get up one morning and you find this on your trail camera. And doesn't answer any questions at all about that after the fact. You know, just let people wonder, oh, look what Steve got. Look what Steve got.
Oh,
Look
yeah.
what Steve got. And then this is what you get. And then he posted another day a picture of an alleged Bigfoot print that just looks like a cinder block or something was there. It's so square, flat, none whatsoever type of motion range. Like it does not look like a dynamic footprint, because all prints in the ground are dynamic. So there should be some dirt movement or debris movement towards the direction of travel.
Yeah.
And as a tracker, he's so good, he should know that. But what he's counting on is our stupidity in our or his minions just lack of accepting whatever he says. Well, not so fast. You ran into a community that does not accept everything you say for word, nor should I expect everybody to accept what I say for word without doing your homework.
Yep.
And
check it out.
And that's it. People turn around and is he narcissistic? I don't know. I haven't watched enough of it. He certainly does seem to keep it all about him and all about his skill, and how nobody else has any skill but him. Normally.
Yeah, he's got an entertaining channel, and I think that's what it's about. Mostly it's
Don, you are correct. I said Mark Zasky. I meant Mark Anders. Thank you for correcting me there, Don. Yep.
I did see some videos that were made kind of poking fun at him when the one guy was standing out in front of I guess he had a green screen with a big mountain behind him, and he was holding a rifle, talking, and you could tell he was pointing, making fun of Isdall, but it was pretty hilarious. But I think some of his scenery he's got in his videos is really great. So for entertainment value, if you just like the stories, maybe okay, but not so much in real world. Yeah.
Mick says, by the way, Mick says, Chris, don't be so hard on yourself, mate. Play with me 24 high octane beers and I'll take you to the prom.
Oh man.
Yeah. And mind you that the picture he puts up as this alleged trail cam photo on that Facebook post, that infamous day, is the Mark Anders photo, not the Mark Zasky photo. I stand corrected. Just so many names are floating in my coconut. But that is Mark Anders, and that is a hoax. And in fact, we had exposed them another Mark Anders hoax, the NVTV video that they were trying to pass off.
Yeah.
As another hoax. And boy, I'm thinking we're gonna get a lot of hate for this show tonight, aren't we?
There are going to be some comments, yes. Or maybe a lot of thumbs down, but that's okay.
Don't care, because you know what? We're not in it to make friends with the people that want to blindly believe in things. We want to cater and entertain and educate the people that want to learn.
Right. Yeah.
The people that in turn can give us a bit of education. And, like Don corrected me there, and I'm glad you did, because I was incorrect. And we always want to try to be 100% of the time. Of course, that never happens. But, the amazing thing with these people is they believe they're 100% correct 100% of the time.
Right.
And that is the difference between these guys and us. Have you ever heard, and we'll get into this in a bit, but so the people I've shown behind, have you ever heard them admit a mistake? Except Linda Newton Perry, because she had gotten caught. saying, "Oh well, Mr. Fasano, I'm sorry, somebody sent me that."
That's the thing. See, she didn't actually admit that she had made the mistake. It was somebody
else.
She shifted the blame to somebody else. And that's what they'll do. Rather than say, yeah, you know what, you're right, I'm wrong. You will never hear that. Never. They're going to say, well, you're right, but it's because this other person did something. Not me. I'm
not
still
me.
Right.
No. It was like Biscardi's involvement in the 2008 hoax. Yeah. Oh, they duped me, or the 2005 hoax. Oh, they duped me. You know, it's always this excuse.
Yes, we trusted them, and they made a mistake. I made a mistake in trusting them, and that's why it looks bad on me. But I
only had good intentions, and so it's that kind of attitude
every time.
Right, and of course, that's the one thing you would expect from people who, there is a very similar. There's a similar line among people who create cults and who create followings based on hoaxes and lies.
Right.
If you think about it, a cult is created on hoaxes and lies, as is, the rest of these folks. So it's very similar paths, and they attract people that are narcissistic, that are people that have, sociopathy, sometimes even psychopathy. So you have a bunch of different people that rise to this occasion. Now, me, I've just been a type A asshole all my life. I'm an investigator, so I want the truth. So, am I narcissistic? Chris, you've met me in person, and I may seem like on a high horse when I'm on the broadcast or even when I write, but anybody that's talked to me in person, am I a narcissist at all?
Nope.
No, not at all.
Farthest thing away from a narcissist.
Hey, and thank you, Jeff. Jeff just sent a $4.99 super sticker. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate
it. By the way, if nobody knows Jeff Trifoletti on Facebook, he makes some great leatherworking products. So check him out too. Great guy, Jeff. Work buddy of mine. So it's kind of funny, and it's good to connect with him. It was years ago. So thank you, Jeff. We love having you here too. So
proud to have you, buddy. I like Lockbeard's
That's
comment.
right. Fringe stuff always brings out the fringe people. Yes, it does. That's in Grasshopper. And hello, Grasshopper. And hello, Norma, too. And Mary. Hello, Mary. Good seeing you. I killed a mosquito and lost you. Okay, you're back. So hang on a second. Okay, there we go. But yeah, this guy, I just don't, and because he has this hunting background, everybody's like so quick to go, because he can show you a picture of him holding up some and he tries to say, well, I know all about hunting, and it just annoys the shit out of me sometimes. I've been doing this now. I've been doing this since 1998. That's what, Chris, 24 years?
Pretty good while.
24 years. Good God, I've been doing this 24 years. And I know about that much. You can add the primate behavior stuff in there, and you should expect some things, but that's just a small fraction of everything there is to know about these creatures, or everything there is to know about ecology, biology, tracking, all that stuff. I know enough to get me by. I know enough, but it's not enough to call me an expert tracker, or even though I can track, it's not enough to call me anything else. What I do know is investigation. What I do know is forensic interviewing. What I do know is evidence collection. That is my field of expertise. So that's, I try to claim nothing that I am not. I'm not a scientist. I am not a squatchologist. I'm none of that. So
Squatchologist,
Bigfootologist. Yeah, I've seen people call them some of those things too. And I kind of just, if they're not being a dink about it, I kind of just smile and nod. And even a cryptozoologist, that's just a term. I don't know. It's just the terminology silly to me anyway. To me, it's all about who's telling the truth, who's not. So, and that's what I try to bring my audience. It's my right and honored to do that and bring that to you. So moving on, let's take a look at the Ace of Clubs. And the Ace of Clubs goes to Dr. Matt Johnson, of course. Like I said, who is causing the current stuff? Now, we talked a lot about him last week, and we know cultivating Bigfoot.
Cultivating, yeah. Cultivating. Very cultivating.
The Janu. What more can I say? And the more I watch what goes on, the more of I see. I mean, you want to talk about telegraphing, trying to control people and control people's thoughts. Going up in front of people. You ever see Finding Bigfoot? Well, they're wrong. Wrong how? Wrong, you would expect when they say they're wrong. If somebody is wrong, they're wrong about something particular. What if Bigfoot does not have a tapetum lucidum? Then I'm wrong. But I'm wrong about that topic, not about the entire topic. So for him, there is no difference. They're wrong. These things are Janu, and they have supernatural abilities, and they have a council of 12, and they made me the 13th member of the ambassador. This kind of wild stuff. So
it's almost funny, but when you get into it to where the guy died from not taking his blood pressure medication or stuff,
I'm not really sure. I kind of want to veer away from exactly what was wrong with him. All I know is that he was ill. Yeah. And that it may have been cancerous. I don't know what the exact situation was.
You don't really stop people from taking their medication because magical Bigfoot leaders is going to cure them.
And I don't know if it was forced upon him to do that.
No, I'm sure.
I can't blame 100% Johnson for that. I can blame him for putting the idea into this man's head. And sometimes when you're, if it was something like a cancer where you've been getting beat up with radiation and chemo and all that, and it's not working, and now you got to go again. I can understand how that can wear a body down and wear a person's mental status down to the point where they're saying, let me just try this. Just like there's people that try homeopathic cures for cancers, or homeopathic cures for anything. The bottom line is it this guy's fault? Unless he said, the religion of the Janu forbid you to take any medication, it's not really his fault. Other than the fact that he said that the Janu can heal people. So it's not really his fault. But he's got plenty of testimonials of people claiming they have knee injuries and the knee injury is now better and stuff like that. We've seen that.
I personally, though, I tend to hold him responsible for that action. Just as sure as the Heaven's Gate cult leader talked everybody into drinking their poison, whatever it was.
Yeah,
and
Chapel White, I think his name was.
Yeah, Chapel White, yeah.
Chapel
or something
White,
like that. But he's just as responsible as any of those guys, because when you talk somebody into something, and not everybody is the same intellectually. You might have some guys that are extremely gullible for some reason or another, and so you could say, hey man, you don't need to take that medicine because Bigfoot's going to cure you. Or
but and we don't have the evidence to say that though.
Right. So
that's why
don't know for sure that he.
That's why I don't like entertaining that idea.
Yeah.
That's right. His name was Applewhite. That's right.
Applewhite.
Applewhite. Yes, I knew it was something close.
But,
I was close. I said Chapelwhite. So yeah.
It becomes dangerous, and when you do something that leads to the danger to the safety of others.
But you know what? I kind of look at it too from the fact is, and it's the way I was brought up. I take responsibility for my own actions.
Yes.
whatever I get because I'm a smoker, that's on me. It's not on the tobacco company.
Right.
They didn't put these in my hand. And the same thing with Johnson and this guy, that got sick. He didn't tell him outright, at least not that I know, that the Bigfoot will cure him, or even the fact that, he can't take traditional treatment and that he must go to the John Who. No, there's no evidence of that. This could be something clearly that the guy just believed what he wanted to believe. And because he, metaphorically drank the Kool-Aid, he went ahead and did that. So is that necessarily, Johnson's fault? Well, it is for creating that whole background and having that healing process. But the ultimate responsibility comes to the person responsibility for making calls on their life. That's kind of the, how should I say it, the catch-22 of a cult is that, those people are in there willingly. It's not like, they were forced to join the cult or forced to,
Yeah, but Steve, still the leaders that are preaching the dogma or whatever it is are, to me, I think they're responsible. And I'm always going to view it that way. Now, yourself, you have worked previously with the developmentally disabled.
Yes.
And you know how they have those guys and gals have beautiful hearts. They're extremely trusting, and maybe somebody could talk someone into doing something that they weren't exactly.
Very true, but I think some of them couldn't be talked into certain things as well.
Yeah.
So I think it all comes down to the person. They can be talked into it. Well, whose fault is that? It's the person. If I'm sitting there and somebody comes in here and says they want to pave my driveway, I just need, $500 down. We'll be here tomorrow. And they just show up at my door. Yes, bad on the criminal. They shouldn't be doing that. And who do they prey on? They prey on people that are a little slower of judgment, like the elderly. But if I give them $500, yes, they're criminally responsible because they're a criminal. Yeah. But hey, I got to take some responsibility. I'm not saying that they're, how should I say, in this particular scenario, they're being committed a crime on, not a belief.
Right.
So it's a little different. So even in that case scenario, the bottom line is I gave them the money to do this, and they did not follow through. Is it a crime or is it a tort, which is a civil court offense? And that could be, that, you give this shyster roofer money to do your roof and they do a shitty job on it when you took a chance on them and didn't bother looking at the Google reviews or whatever reviews, Angie's List or whatever. Hey, that part of it, I mean, yes, I'm going to sue them to fix the job or get my money back so I can have the job properly done. But I do have some of that blame on my own shoulders in the first place. And I have to pay those consequences by going through all these steps because guess what? I'm the one who didn't do my due diligence in hiring this contractor. So, it's something we've lost in this, a part of our culture is taking responsibility for the things we do. There would be a lot less people getting involved with cults and believing this crap if they just took responsibility for themselves. Our audience, I'm sure, takes full responsibility for their own actions and what they do. That's never been a problem with our audiences. So I really think I'm preaching to the choir here. And
but see, we're lucky.
Well,
we've got some of the sharpest audience members of any show. So we're lucky.
We got questions too. So let's hit this. First one is a comment from Mixing. Ever notice how Dr. Matt Zorth Dr. Matt always breaks down in tearless crocodile tears when he recounts his first encounter, then doesn't look or sound like someone who's traumatized 10 seconds later? Yes. Absolutely. I saw that in a speech he made to about, it's hard to tell how many people were there. It wasn't a very full room. I'll tell you that much. You could see about 6 or 7 people in the room. They called it Bigfoot 101.
Yeah.
And he called his 3 classics like the bachelor's degree, the master's degree, and the doctorate. Oh my God. You can't make this stuff up. And I wonder if at the end of that, he actually gives them certificates. I don't know. Raptor Crazy question. Didn't this guy pass away like a couple of years ago? Yes, I believe he did. It was either either a year or two or maybe 3 years ago, but pretty close. Yeah, it is raining out here, and I think the rain is being caught on my mic a little bit. So I just noticed that. It's pouring rain out here, actually. Okay, here's a question. Do you think the woo or really fringe, almost supernatural attitudes given to cryptids might be due to lack of critical thinking or teaching of philosophy and education? Nothing like an easy question. Thanks. And hello, by the way. We didn't see you sneak in either. So here's my thoughts on that. I don't think it's because of some people it may be a lack of critical thinking. Some people, but I'm talking about the people who believe without having an experience. If people have an experience and they encounter something supernatural, I bet you that somewhere in that mix, there is a scientific explanation to explain just about everything that we perceive as supernatural, whether it be PTSD, whether it be post-traumatic amnesia, whether it be, whatever in their mind is trying to fill that void. I don't know for sure. There's nothing I can prove to that, but I'm sure that there is an explanation that can explain that type of phenomenon without it saying, oh, well, Bigfoot's an alien or Bigfoot's coming out of a portal or Bigfoot's a Nephilim or any of those explanations other than Bigfoot is a primate. And it depends on the individual. I, was very well prepared. I was researching these things for, at the time, 13 years before I had my first eyeball. There it is right there. And, 150 feet away from me. That is, I was still traumatized. You can see me in that video that I've shown where I'm a little like, wow. It was standing right there and it was just looking at me and, there was trauma, but because I was anticipating that being there, it did not, envelop my whole mind. And I didn't start seeing Bigfoot around every corner. I didn't hear a bump go, oh, Bigfoot. I mean, I've stood next to people in Kentucky, not Chris, but in Kentucky that hears, who cooks food? Here's a barred owl. And the guy goes, oh, that's Bigfoot imitating an owl. No, that's an owl. Yeah. And and Mick says that I'm with Chris on this. Steve, people when they pray are mentally ill or weak, they're violating. I do believe that, but if they put forth this, it's the culpability. If he's not forcing him to do it, then really there's no culpability in it other than, it's immoral. It's immoral, no lie, but it's not criminal. And I want to make that clear. That's why it's so tough to sometimes have these cult members arrested. That's why it's so difficult. People who claim, they're being held against their will, and then they talk to them, oh, I want to be here. And because they're totally brainwashed, then that's on them. I mean, why do you think they have problems with, there's been a lot of allegations made into Scientology and they haven't been able to arrest anybody for keeping people against their wills because every time they talk to them, they get into it on their own volition and then they have a trouble getting out. So, it's, one of those catch-22s.
Hey boy.
So let's get into another question. OT says, I'm also talking about the non-experience. I just believe that the lack of critical thinking comes to people who are just, going through Facebook and then all of a sudden they find this guy and they say, oh, or this gal that's saying, hey, this and that and this and that and this and that. And they're like, oh, wow, this is, I'm the kind of guy that'll sit there and watch a reality show and start breaking it down in my head. And, having the experience of doing film and documentaries and shooting a few sizzle reels for reality shows. I know how they think. I know what they do. So it kind of gives me a little foot up on it a bit, or whatever, a leg up on it a bit. So,
Well, a hyena killed in Virginia, I'm not familiar with that, but, is it impossible? No. It's very possible that could have happened, but, that's why we do the critical thinking and the investigation. Could have escaped.
Yeah, but then, were there any zoo escapes?
Right, yeah. Yeah, it didn't swim across the water from Africa or something. There had to be some way it got there. Yeah.
So Mick asks, ever hear a Bigfoot imitating a Sasquatch?
I think so.
I have, yet he has a distinct own sound. You get see what I did there, Yeti?
Yeah, Yeti has a distinct. But now there are people, and you can't fault them, that were raised, in urban areas, and they might not be familiar with all the wildlife sounds because they haven't been out in the woods. And if they hear a coyote or a barred owl or something, then they might, or screech owl, they might tend to think, oh my gosh, what is that? They don't know, so they associate it with Bigfoot. But with a little research and a little education, and you figure out, hey, that's not really a Bigfoot, that's an owl. But you got to be willing to put in the effort.
So, Low Rider taking a shot at Lockbeard in chat. Am I gullible if I believe that Lockbeard can communicate with turtles telepathically? No, you are completely gullible if you believe he can communicate with turtles telepathically. Remember, only tortoises have telepathy. Anyway.
That's so funny.
It's just
oh man.
No, Matt Johnson is not dead. We're talking about actually one of the members in his group that had passed away a couple of years ago that, was making comments prior to his death that the Janu were going to heal him. That much was certain.
Oh no, Grasshopper. No, he's still alive. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, very much so. We don't want to start that rumor.
No.
And you know what? Again, I don't wish anything ill on any of these people. That's not what I'm about. There's nothing personal here. Except maybe that Queen of Clubs. That's a little personal, but
yeah, we don't want to start any rumors. It's be like Abe Vigoda. They said he died so many times, and it was hilarious because I used to watch Conan, and then he rolls across the stage and Conan after the latest rumor that Abe Vigoda had died.
I didn't know Abe Vigoda was on Conan the Barbarian.
Oh yes. He'd been on everything, man.
I said Conan the Barbarian.
Oh no.
Not Conan O'Brien.
It was so hilarious because those rumors would come out, and then they would just show him, off to the side of the camera rolling by, just to show that he's still alive.
Well, it's kind of, it's bad when Chris kind of just automatically ignores me because I'm coming up with a silly or stupid statement.
I'm sorry. It never occurred to me you were talking about Conan the Barbarian. My bad.
I didn't know Abe Vigoda. Yes, he was the guy that brought the urination pail to everybody. Yeah.
It was so bad. I don't know why they did do that, but it was like every couple of months somebody would start a rumor Abe Vigoda has died, and then he would show up somewhere. No, I'm still here. This last time when he really did die, I was halfway expecting it to be another rumor.
Yeah, it happens that way sometimes. That and geez, still not over Ray Liotta dying. That was pretty surprising.
Yeah, that's shocker. Yeah.
But well, are we ready for the Ace of Spades? The last one for the night.
Who could it be?
Who could it be knocking at my door? Go away. I don't want to see you no more. Anyway, you can all boo at me for singing. I'm sorry. Apologize. Here it comes. Boop. That's right.
Ah, yeah.
His beard is weird. Many faces of Bigfoot.
That's a shocker. People are going to be saying, no. But, well, the other guy was not really relevant lately, so.
Yep. Yeah, he's kind of mellowed down a little bit, but still not, he's still popping up every once in a while.
Oh, man, you didn't have my favorite on. Oh, yes, it is. It is. The Muppet Squatch is on there. Okay, my bad.
Yeah, the Muppet Squatch is there,
Okay.
and we have, Blinky and, of course, his dad.
Yeah.
Which are all three. Why? How come all his pictures of Sasquatch are just of, like, the neck up? We don't get a full anatomical shot. Why not? You know, that's kind of the critical thinking. How about years ago when he first started that, he had bags full of Sasquatch hair that he was sending off to be tested. And then his excuse is, well, somebody broke into my house and took my Sasquatch hair. I'm sure somebody breaks into your house. That's the first thing they look for.
Yes.
Is they break into the house. Okay. Like if my house is broken into, oh, this guy's a Bigfoot guy. Where's the Sasquatch hair? Yeah. Never mind the TV. Never mind the computers or the cameras or the $1,000 in electronic equipment. Where's the Sasquatch hair?
Gotta get that Sasquatch hair.
Kind of reminds me of the scene with Borat. Get the pubic hair. Can I pay in pubic hair?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Hilarious. But in case if you haven't caught the Hall of Shame post on the SquatchDetective.com for Mr. Standing, you ought to check it out. Steve's got some good explanations in there. Those photos.
Oh, yeah.
You still got the photos in there, right?
Oh yeah. He's the Hall of Shame, absolutely. And also, if you want to check the videos that I put out on Todd Standing on this channel, they're there.
Yeah.
The number one watch video was the first video I put out on Todd Standing. Raptor Crazy said, I got blocked from Todd Standing about 8 years ago when he was alive. He is alive. I don't know why people think he's dead. These are not dead people.
Oh, well, maybe when he was live.
Live. Oh, yeah.
Live broadcast. Yeah.
I don't want to start another rumor.
No.
When he was live years ago, he was talking about this female Bigfoot blinking eyes, and I said, you're a puppet master. Then I got blocked. Well, yeah, there's a good reason why. It was a puppet.
It's a puppet. You called it.
Sources that I have said that the eyes blinked when it was, there was a tube that when they blow into it, it would make it blink. So I don't know. I don't know how true that is, but a lot of the other stuff, the same source said that the Bigfoot in the last picture with the wrinkles on the brow ridge was actually his dad. Just painted up, and that's why you don't see anything below the nostrils, or not. You don't even see the nostrils. Why not? Because it would show too much of the nose that is too much like his dad. Of course, if you look at that paint very closely, there are some moles under that paint, and those moles happen to match up with a picture of his father.
Yeah, it looks a little light up there at the forehead too. Looks like they missed.
Yeah. You don't have the full picture there.
Yeah.
But this Bigfoot has a receding hairline or widow's peaks, as does his dad. So I have to. What the heck is going on here? National Weather Service. Okay, I'm gonna turn this.
All right. We got a tornado warning there, Steve.
Flood warning.
Flood warning.
But I'm on high ground, so I don't worry about it too much.
Okay.
And I don't have a basement, so I don't worry too much.
Well, you never know.
Well, I do have a very small crawl space basement type of basement underneath.
That's why it's always a good idea to tune in to us on Sunday nights, because sometimes we get things like meteors entering the atmosphere and sonic booms.
Yeah, we've actually had that happen on the show.
That happened here. Yeah, that happened.
Let me make something clear. There's a lot of talk about, you listen to Dr. Dr. Meldrum talk about Todd Stanley. He's very kind of neutral about the whole thing. It definitely does not prop him up. From what I understand, Bindernagel walked out on him. But, of course, Todd will take advantage of everything that with Bindernagel had said something about, I believe he has, pictures of or something. But it was said in such a way that or illustrations that, it was said in such a way that it wasn't a real item, but it could represent something that's real. And he was talking about Blinky. And that's right. Bigfoot Society comes in with a Obi-Wan and Anakin reference. Anakin, I have the high ground. There goes 2 arms and a leg. Yep. Right on.
You got to remember too, though, when
arm and a leg.
When Dr. Meldrum is speaking about somebody like for a documentary or something, he's going to tend to not throw them under the bus. It's going to be, you're going to get, if you ask him a question like that, what do you think of so-and-so? You're going to get the academic answer, which is generally dancing around in neutrality. I notice that, he does have a lot of evidence, and some people say that some of it's not correct or real, but, they form of opinion as I'm neutral. And I don't want to say one way or the other is what he's really saying.
Yeah, and, according to chat, I don't want to necessarily put that comment up because of the way it was worded, but Low Rider said Survivor Man realized that Todd was, not necessarily who he said he was. And that's agreed. And, I've talked to people that have been out on expedition with him that have contacted me after the fact. And very reputable people. One particular gentleman was from Arizona and was a retired fire captain. And I won't mention his name yet unless I have him on the show. But he paid Todd $3,000 for an expedition. And that didn't get him a hotel. It didn't get him grand dining. That got him sleeping on a cot in one of his spare bedrooms at the time. It did nothing but talk about tree breaks and, see this is Sasquatch, and look at this tree break over here, and that's a Sasquatch. Never saw a print, never heard anything, never experienced anything, and just had a pretty lousy time of it. And that was $3,000. And anybody that charges $3,000 for a Bigfoot expedition and gives you virtually nothing, that's pretty bad. And think about that. All you have to do that is about 5 or 10 times a year, and they paid him $3,000 American. So it's not even Canadian dollars. So you got to kind of look at all of that information very carefully. So
Tell
that's
you what, though, you got to give him credit. I mean, he puts a lot of work into his hoaxes.
Well, here's the thing. You got to understand, Todd, before all this, had a production company called Outstanding Productions.
Yes.
And his, people will say, well, his wife was a makeup artist. Well, she was a cosmetic makeup artist. So let's
not exactly the same. Yeah.
Definitely not the same thing. It's not like a Bill Munns or a anybody like that. So that just totally different thing. And he's no longer with Louise. He is now a single man. And that may explain why that, like you had that one kid that YouTuber that went out with him that time. Found the gorilla hand, the gorilla gloves or the Sasquatch gloves in the back of his truck, which coincidentally coincided with his video of the Bigfoot hand taking the apple, which, from what I understand, was a particular individual who thought he was videoing it just to test to see if it could be faked. Turns out it ended up in the video as the real thing.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? So, and that comes from that source as well. So all these little tidbits of knowledge, come out, you know, and then he said, oh, well, it was a practical joke from my brother-in-law. Then why would you keep them in your truck? Why?
Yeah. Gorilla gloves.
Your hands get cold, so you put on Gorilla Gloves? Come on.
Oh, here's one. The random Canuck. No, Chris, no hoaxer should be given any credit. Well, I mean, he did put some
welcome,
effort into those.
Let me just say, the random Canuck, welcome.
Welcome. It's good to see you. But he did put some, you got to admit, he did put some effort into his fakeries. It's not like he took a $39.95 Halloween gorilla suit.
Oh, we're not disagreeing with you at all.
No,
that's why he's at the top of the deck here, Mr. Todd Standing. All his lawsuits were based upon the government violating his civil rights. A lot of people think he was trying to make Bigfoot a real item. He was trying to protect his civil rights. Well, the Canadian government's denying the existence of these creatures. Basically, if you read the paperwork, it's because, and they're impeding on my belief and my right to believe in Bigfoot is real. That violates my constitutional rights under Canadian law.
Oh boy.
That's why it got tossed, because of those kind of like far-stretching, out there type of legal arguments. And the funny thing is, Claudia Ackley a few years ago was trying to seek from California recognition of the creature and taking them through the courts. And then all of a sudden she enlisted the help of Todd Standing. Why, I don't know. Claudia, you knew better, or you should have known better. She employed his help. Why, I don't know, because he wasn't very successful what he was doing. And shortly thereafter, the whole thing got dropped.
Yeah.
It never did go to court. So,
of
course, Todd Standing wanted in on it because it puts his name in the press and it gives him more names. Yes. People buy his documentaries. People will people will want to go on expedition with him. So even if he catches 2 or 3 suckers over a half a year's time, and I don't mean that ill for people who believed in him and did it. I understand that, but that's his line of thing. If I can get a couple of suckers to come here and give me $3,000, $3,500 each time, hey, I don't have to work for the next few months, especially when I'm living at Mom's house. Which kind of funny is that people forget when he first came out. The website is sylvanic.com, SYLVANIC, which by definition is a Latin-based term. And according to him, the first Americans or the First Nation people only knew about this area called Sylvanic. And how would they know? It's not even a Native American or first, I just had it too. The First Nation people. The First Nation people don't even call it that.
Yeah.
Sylvanic is a Latin-based name, and coincidentally, his mom's name is Sylvia. So is that where he kind of derived that from? And the whole site. What about those 3 missing campers that went into Sylvanic? We never heard about them again. And that 2nd grade police sketch that he had, it looked like it was written by a 2nd grader on his website. And then he makes the claim, and there was the infamous Sylvanic video number 1, which was this woman walking, and all you see is a camera, and you see these very bad tracks in the snow, and you hear her go, what is it that we have here? Yeah. And then you see this tree start shaking. And the tree shakes, and then the video cuts out. Come on, it was so fake. And then at the same time, there was another user that was on the Bigfoot forums that found an Edmonton paper that had Todd's phone number on it, looking for actors and actresses.
Yes.
So all of that. And then it turns out that he has this production company, and for a while it was kind of funny because I was looking at his production company, credits, and he was doing commercials about strip clubs. Yeah. So it was really, really some weird stuff on his Facebook page at the time, him in a gladiator suit, really like, whoa, stuff you can't unsee, unfortunately.
I think he was had a production company, and he thought the way to make some decent change.
Well, he was looking
with Bigfoot.
At the time, he was looking for a Blair Witch type of film. that found footage film. And that's what he was building that site for. Hey, there's these 3 missing hikers. And now all of a sudden you have some actors and actresses come out and you're filming them walking with the footprints in the snow and a Bigfoot going, oh, here's the tree. And then the film cuts off. Come on.
Yeah. I remember that somebody was over there inside the tree line there shaking the branch because the snow was falling off and stuff. It was hilarious. It was a very elementary attempt.
Oh, Mr. Lee 3PO is in the house. Hello, Mr. Lee 3PO. Good to see you again this evening, sir. So that's the initial, and when he first came out in 2005, it was pretty easy because when my website went national January 1, 2006, it was very easy. And he was like one of the first people in the Hall of Shame. And it was based upon the Sylvanic website and the Sylvanic Video 1 and, all this other crap that went on. Very, 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 very easy. And also the same source said that the Bigfoot running up the hill in that quick video there was actually an Edmonton firefighter that was off duty, and then he had hired to put the suit on and make a run up the hill.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, he had a pay-per-view thing on his website. You had to pay to see that too.
Oh yeah. He was trying all kinds of ways to monetize.
Yeah.
To monetize what he was doing, and unfortunately, that was, and this is where we are today, where people think he's like the greatest, and I don't see it. I see somebody that's, hasn't come up with a consistent Bigfoot, has used puppetry and pictures and like the blinking Bigfoot. He didn't release that till I think 2015, 2016. But that picture had been circulating, I think, since 2013 without that. And it went into the Edmonton Sun, and that's where I got the copy from it. They put it on their website, and they put the raw picture on the website. So it came out with all the details, when it was taken, the time it was taken, all the camera settings, which the camera settings were set for a still object with good lighting, which is never really something you do when you're in a dark, think about it, you're in a dark forest where there's a lot of dark cover, you're photographing wildlife. Why would you set it on a setting that's gonna, if something moves, it's gonna be blurry?
He didn't expect them to post the raw picture. He expected them to do a copy, didn't he? Had to, because a true hoaxer wouldn't have been that foolish.
Yeah, we're gonna submit the trail cam photo cropped with all the information out of it, and we're only gonna post it on Facebook or YouTube. We're not going to email it to any researchers, because if I email the original picture to the researchers, they can get all that information. So that's why, folks, if you're out there researching Bigfoot sightings, I always say take it to the next level, and that includes my audience. You're on a computer, you see something that's there. Obviously, everybody's on a computer or a phone or something because they're here watching the show. So if you see a picture, you can always send it towards me and say, hey, what do you think of this? That's fine. But what we need to do is, and I see so many of these, so-called Bigfoot organizations that claim they're into it, and some of them I have some really big doubts about. But they'll have like the entire trail cam picture, but you look, it's been altered by Facebook, and the only way you can get that picture is by Facebook. No, and the other groups don't want like secondary, you'll ask a group and say, hey, can you email me that picture? Well, I can't, or I'll send it to you on Messenger. No, I need you to email. Well, I really, you'll have, these some of these groups, send these pictures out, only on Facebook. Why? Because the metadata is gone.
Yeah.
So for folks out there, try to, if there's a name or something, try to track that person down, get their name, get their email address, write to them, see if they'll send you the original photo. If they send you an original photo that has been, altered, ask for the original, off the thing. And then if they're legit, they're going to send you everything. And sometimes even when they're not legit, they'll send you everything. But you can always tell the fakeries right off the shoot. Well, I don't have the original anymore. let's go back to the Bigfoot peeper. Oh, I took video of this thing for 8 minutes, but that film got destroyed in the fire. All I have are these, screen caps. What? Well, the screen caps miraculously saved the fire. Somebody must have took the screen caps and ran out the door with them. I don't know.
That's right.
So
don't worry about the film. Just grab those screen caps.
That's right.
Yeah.
What are our thoughts on the new zoo trail cam photo that's been floating around the last few weeks? Not impressed. Not impressed. There's only one trail camera picture. That's an issue. If this was in a zoo, why is that trail camera not set at a burst? That's the most typical question I would ask. What were the camera settings? How about sending us the real camera photo? Let's post the raw image up there so we can save it and get the metadata from it. But we haven't seen anybody that can produce the original photo, only what's been passed around in the press and passed around Facebook. Yeah, I did.
Was that on Facebook? Because
it is.
Okay, never mind. I never hardly ever sign in.
It looks like somebody, and it almost looks like the old Atoka, Oklahoma Bigfoot video where that taxidermist put that pelt on his back, and somebody took a picture of him from the back end there, and they tried to claim it was Bigfoot, and it turned out the guy was a taxidermist. Didn't want to, his wife didn't want to talk. He didn't want to talk. Yeah. I was down there. And, then people say, oh, yeah, he's a taxidermist. Well, that kind of explains where he got that pelt. So to me, it looks like somebody's in a pelt or set something up in the field or whatever. I'm not buying it just yet. Nobody's done any proper investigation on the zoo side, which you would expect. And the zoo is not taking really a big interest other than just spreading it around. So what is it? It could be just that the zoo is wants a little more foot traffic through the zoo, or maybe it's some yutz that wants to just get a little internet fame. I don't know, but that does not look anything like a cryptid or a Sasquatch to me. It looks like a person holding something over their head, trying to make it look like they're something that they're not. But wow.
Well, I missed it. I didn't see it. I guess I need to start signing into Facebook every now and then and look around.
Raptor Crazy said he just remembers. You're very certainly welcome. Raptor Crazy says, I do remember the strip club videos talking about Todd standing. It wasn't on YouTube very long now. They weren't. It was pretty bad. I guess, you're going to take the work you can get. Maybe, who knows? Maybe Todd was in the strip club all the time. Hey, I got a production company. Want me to do a film? Sure. I can't say that for sure, though.
Oh, man.
We should plan a summer of 2024 Squatch Detective Beer Squatch Festival in upstate New York or Kentucky. Would not be a bad idea. We got a nice area to investigate down in Kentucky near you, Chris.
Yeah.
That may not be a bad idea. And that's a couple of years off. We may have to talk about that.
I don't know. I'm really not making plans that far out these days.
I am, because I expect to be around.
Every day I wake up, I'm pleasantly surprised.
No. We wouldn't bring in the money. We wouldn't ask anybody on that. No need to. I'm like one of those guys. I'm so anti-money when it comes to having people come out with me. Now, I don't knock the people that charge a reasonable rate, or you're having a big expedition and you're charging $50 a head or 20 or $35 a head, and you're like Charlie Raymond's expedition, the KBRO. They were charging, but man, you got fed every day, and they have quite the encampment setup to feed people.
Yeah.
And
that was more or less. I think Charlie does that to cover the costs of
I know,
everybody and stuff. It's not like we're going to do this for a living, So
Yeah.
There's a big difference.
Yeah, and that was truly a wonderful time. The food was awesome. The people were great. And, people
Good
were doing
crowd.
stuff all day, all night long.
Yeah. I got to meet Taters.
Got to meet Taters, got to meet Charlie, got to meet, that was a great time. Well, even Life as a Flyway said, so maybe, maybe we should plan a 2024 Squatch-D TV event.
Well, that would be cool. We got plenty of places to go here.
Yeah. Not a bad idea. Okay.
And
now you got me thinking.
Good camping and or motels if you prefer a soft bed, you don't have to, if you want to get out and go Bigfooting in Kentucky, you don't have to, sleep on the ground and stuff. I mean, you're perfectly capable of doing some Bigfoot research out in the woods and then drive back a few miles to the motel room and get cleaned up, have a nice hot meal.
Yeah, see, Girly Bigfooter is trying to say host in upstate New York. Yeah, but Kentucky's kind of a central location. So I'd like to cater. Maybe we'll do one up north, one down south. Who knows?
That would be cool.
But that
we'll
would
do one in the spring and one in the fall.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Early spring in Kentucky. Hey, that's it. That's from March, the beginning of March up. Yeah, that's when everything starts waking up around here.
Yeah, so that definitely is something doable. That would be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put our
makes sense for me to get a defibrillator. That wouldn't be a bad idea, Mick. Oh man.
And looks like Mike is chiming in. Oh yeah, I think we may have to make a 2024 just event.
That would be fun.
Bring your own food, bring your own gear. We'll pick the time and the place.
Life is a Flyway, the South Central Kentucky. Look at the Mammoth Cave region, Cave City. Those places right about the middle to the left of the center. Yeah, if you look, it's right off of Interstate 65 runs from Louisville straight down through the kind of the middle of the state, and so it's pretty close to Interstate 65. It's really handy.
Ken Gerhard posted about that trail cam photo. Said if not fake, it's an illusionary effect. I agree 100%. So I love Ken because him and I really cut of the same kind of skeptical thinking type of thing.
Yeah, I like the way Ken thinks. I do. He's got a good mind.
And his show was wonderful when they did the Alaska show.
Yeah.
And of course, because it was so good, they cut it off at like 4 or 5 episodes.
Yeah.
But you'll get, because they don't want good and they want crap. They want flash. They want Bullstein. And there isn't a show out there right now that, a documentary is one thing. But I think you need I think it's the beer, Joe. Joe says, I think Steve is ignoring me, or maybe it's the beer.
No.
I think it's the beer. I haven't seen a comment in Joe in a while.
Oh.
Have you?
Look up.
He's probably running in a different chat room, and people are like, what the hell is he talking about?
He says,
he's like in a grandmother's knitting chat room saying, hey,
I'm doing one next year. Is that here?
Oh.
Oh. Colonel Tack.
You got to wear the bucket on your head. Do you make fried chicken, dude?
No. The title of Kentucky Colonel is an honorary, and it's not given out to those people who make fried chicken. It's for those people who go above and beyond of helping other people and the community.
Like giving away fried chicken.
Yeah. If Mike is a Kentucky Colonel, then that means he's very, very community oriented. means he's a good guy. That's what it means, really. We're not going to tell nobody that, don't we? Oh, man.
There is some good chatter going on. I thought, Joe says he's doing one here next year. Well, I'll be there then. That's not
okay.
Yeah. Never.
I have to. It takes me a while. I may have to, maybe a few days to get there because I don't travel well anymore. But
oh yeah,
please. Boots on the ground.
Yeah, we can have a lot of fun at a, and we can actually. Oh, we can do a lot of fun if we have a Squatch-D TV event.
Yeah.
Get some pictures of our fans, and we can do all kinds of fun stuff, and we can milk that videos and those pictures for months. Oh, geez. 3 months later, hey, we're going to go back and review what we did 3 months ago.
You know what? There would probably be so many good memories made. It would be something you could reflect on for years to come.
Yeah, I mean,
I always enjoy meeting people, especially like-minded people like our audience is. And, we love you guys. We're so proud of you. So many good questions and good minds. It just shows,
Absolutely.
You could tell the questions and pop right into the topics or jump on something else. Boom, boom, boom. You guys are sharp.
So, yep, up on the screen, that's going to go away here in a second. But, check it out. That's a cool set of deck of cards for $10. And it's always fun to have. It's a good deck of cards to have at a Squatch-D TV outing. We can sit around, play cards. But no, at nighttime, we're sitting around looking for the big hairy guy.
After the end of the day, that's when the poker chips come out, right?
Yeah. Well, Chris, you know what? We just got a few minutes left before the end of the show already. It was flown by.
Well, that went by fast. Yeah.
Sure did. So I appreciate everybody for coming in tonight.
Yes.
And
we enjoy spending time with you guys.
We had a good sized chat room, even for I didn't, and there's a lot of time people don't know the work that it takes sometimes that I put in all the graphics that they put in together today. And so I didn't really advertise this show too much out on social media, just on Facebook, Twitter, the usual YouTube, you would get the announcements. So, to have a crowd this size, I'm pretty happy.
I really appreciate the graphics you do and the work you do on them, Steve, because, each one, there's so much detail in there. You got to really study it. And if you guys are on the podcast listening, make sure you go to the YouTube channel and check out these graphics because they are hilarious. The more you look at them, the more you're going to find.
Yep.
And this one up front is hilarious. It's got a Bigfoot with a shocked face and OMG, then like a poker table set down below him. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know where I come up with some of these.
Description just don't cut it.
Last week we had the Biscardi missing on the milk carton. Or not last week, a couple of weeks ago, and then last week we had the I don't know what I had Johnson doing last week. So,
but it's not all about education; it's about fun too. And there's
thank you very much.
There's nothing says that education can't be fun.
No, you gotta have fun, especially in this topic. Right. It's a fringe topic for most of the world, so we gotta have a little fun with it. We give our Bigfoot's character, even though but we have a serious side to ourselves, and even like a show like this today. I try to always give some of the nuggets of wisdom that I've learned over the 20 some odd years of doing this. It's kind of weird because I remember being that guy that was new, that was still learning. And now, now people come to me all the time and ask, and what do you think of this? Or what do you think of that? Or I get emails all the time, what's your opinion on this or that? So, it's humbling. It's really humbling. I'm just a guy who did this for a number of years, and I'm outspoken. I have my beliefs, and I don't mind speaking up. That's the way I was brought up. That was where I was raised. I was also raised to be truthful and not dishonest, and keep on the straight and narrow, which is why, I'm able to be a licensed investigator in a notary public, which in the state of New York, a lot of people don't know this. If you're a notary public, you're technically an officer of the state. So you got to have a clean as a whistle type of record to be a notary in New York. And the reason being is that, and this is something that people don't know about notaries, is that I'm one of the few people that can take a deposition from a person if I swear them in, and if they lie under that oath, they can be charged criminally with perjury. So that's, so that makes it very important. Like as an investigator, when I go interview somebody and I want to put them on record and I swear them in, they have to tell me the truth, just like they would in court. Otherwise, they're going to face criminal charges if it's found out to be untruthful later on. So that's just one of the little things. So I've always enjoyed what I do, and investigations. And I have a lot of other interest, investigative types of interest aside from the Bigfoot mystery now, because I've grown in my investigative roles over the years. But I always come back to Bigfoot, and I always like getting out there. And I always, if you ever know me, I'm always watching a documentary. I'm always learning, and I'm always, reading. So, I'll read, I listen to Audible, I watch documentaries, and unfortunately there hasn't been a lot of great Bigfoot stuff out there lately. So I try to find those documentaries. I got to watch that new Bigfoot documentary. I think it's called The Flash of Beauty or something like that. There's a new Bigfoot documentary. Of course, we're all looking forward to Jay Bachochin's Finding Jay Part 2.
Yeah, I want to see Jay's.
Yeah, Jay's is going to be awesome. Some of the stuff. Now, when that comes out, I think a week or two afterwards, we'll have Jay on. I'll have Jay send me a couple of clips from the show, hopefully not with music.
Silent clips.
And then maybe we can discuss, and I can have a real rational decision, because Jay's videos have spawned me in a whole nother direction of explaining scientifically what may be going on to some of these supernatural or paranormal type of Bigfoot experiences.
Yeah, I'm interested in some of that phenomenon he's got filmed.
Yeah,
too.
but I haven't even spoken to you about what's rolling around in my coconut and the flash of stuff that, like when I was writing What Would Sasquatch Do, I had some realizations when I wrote, the Sasquatch playbook. I had some revelations in my mind. And in talking with Jay over a couple of days of filming for this, because I am in it, all of a sudden, these revelations even more than I explain in the film, have come out now. So fascinating stuff. And you want to talk about an interesting tie-in? I think I've got it. I think I may have a good working hypothesis. So anyway, folks, Chris, you want to do your thing and we'll get out of here.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. We've got the greatest audience in Bigfoot shows, and we love you guys. We appreciate you. Tickled to have you every week. If it's the first time you're watching the show on YouTube, hey, hit us a like, give us a subscribe. It helps us get found in the search algorithm. We appreciate
absolutely.
you.
And remember to share. Sharing is caring. If you like this video, if you like what you're seeing, share it. I don't care if you put it on Facebook. Hey, check this video out. Watch it. Yeah. This guy's the bomb diggity. These guys are the bomb diggities. I don't care. Sharing it will get it out there and get us new audience members and create that like-mindedness and this good collective thought processes we've had over the last few years here on YouTube, which, Chris, July 19th will be 3 years on YouTube. Can you believe how quick that's been?
Well, it seemed like just yesterday we switched over to.
It sure does. So anyway, folks, on behalf of everybody here at Squatch-D TV, I want to wish everybody a happy and healthy week. Keep safe, keep healthy, keep having fun, and most of all, keep on squatching. God bless. We'll catch you all here next week, 9 p.m. Eastern, Sunday night. Thanks for being here. We love you all.
Hey folks, you've been watching Squatch-D TV. Join us each week, Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for the latest on the Bigfoot mystery. As always, we thank you for being our loyal viewers and encourage all to subscribe to our YouTube page at youtube.com/Steve Culls. As always, have a great week. Stay safe. God bless. And keep on squatching.